bring preconceived frames to issues, and those frames really determine and shape how we respond when aspects of those issues come up. I think we saw this with some of the media in a very intense way in the response in the last couple weeks to when Joe Biden talked about assaults on democracy, or when Michelle Obama was criticized by some for being political, by even talking about that in a very subtle way. If your frame is that you think that basically democracy is intact and there's a fair playing field, and we're in our typical blue versus red politics, and both sides are sort of doing the same thing and attacking each other like they always do, then of course when Joe Biden talks about the assault on democracy, you're going to cover in that frame. It's political. You're going to cover it as something he is saying. What if the frame, though, that is actually more appropriate right now is the factual frame that democracy is being assaulted? That there is, in fact, like there's been in other countries, as in our history in our past, or places like Hungary today, there is an attack on democracy through states on gerrymandering, so outcomes are predetermined and may create outcomes that otherwise you wouldn't have, like a Republican House majority, or that there are laws being violated in states like Ohio, the Constitution, court orders to allow that gerrymandering happen, or that suppression is happening of voters of color in Georgia and Texas, long lines, no water, massive purging, so outcomes are impacted, or that election processes are being attacked or politicized, or there's election denialism. What if the frame is that that's actually all happening? Which I believe obviously that it is. Well, that actually undermines the media frame, or at least some of the media, that we have a fair playing field and we should cover both sides as if they're both doing the same thing. So it's really problematic to me that this is basically not being covered nearly as much as, let's say, what we see in England, the coverage of the Queen's passing. That's a problem. But it's an even bigger problem that when moments come up when one side is pointing out this frame, which I think is true, that it's basically rejected by many in the media. Oh, that's just part of politics as usual. They are superimposing what I think is a dated frame onto a frame that is more accurate, and that is deeply damaging.